Hello and welcome. You're watching The Social Network. Now, BJP has christened its tagline as India272.com. What does that really mean? They're hoping that in India they will reach, in the next upcoming elections in 2014, they will reach the halfway mark, and a huge amount of that they're hoping will be fueled by the young and new first-time voter. That, and of course, they have been all over social media. Have they got ahead? Have they maybe decided that their campaign is going to really look at these two aspects of it and forgotten maybe the other stuff? We've got a whole bunch of people who have been working with young people across the country, not just them, but also working with social media extensively. Two things that are now becoming, in a sense, defining features of the upcoming election. So we're going to talk to a whole bunch of them. But first, let's quickly take a look. Arjun is from Commutiny and he joins us today, and he's going to talk a little bit about this Unmanifesto, which is, Arjun, India's first crowd-based manifesto. It's a youth manifesto, but you call it Unmanifesto. Why?
Actually, we call it the Unmanifesto because we believe that young people today are really being wooed only for their vote. And so it's not only on that vote day that they should be actually active as politicians. And the Unmanifesto talks like the Alice in Wonderland about, celebrating birthdays, even on unbirthdays, which means celebrating all year round.
Yeah.
We'd want young people to be participating in politics all year round, and not just on the day of the vote, which is what you just started with by saying that people are being wooed just to vote and then forget everything after that.
Yeah. Okay, so, Arjun, really interestingly, before I introduce the other panelists, one of the things that has often come across from political parties that we've seen is that they talk to the youth, like you said, to try and bring them to the voting booth. But is the youth at this stage today looking just to come out and vote, or are they looking to engage more actively in politics? And if so, how?
Right. So, for example, this particular campaign that we ran had 3,000 voices on ground. It had 3,000 voices offline. We got about 2,000 people asking, saying these promises should be put up with the parties. So obviously people want to get involved right from the source, and not just on voting day. And that's the change that's happened from last elections or even the elections before that, because young people really came out on the streets for protest. People want to see and be a part of their own future making. So we have about 30 organizations who've got together to put this together. Even now you'll see about 500 young people are there today actually adding to that promise base. So we have about 2,000, 3,000 promises coming in, and maybe we have the top 10 which are going to be presented today to two politicians who've come from the BJP and the Congress, Meenakshi Natarajan and Manvendra Singh, and hopefully they'll take it forward to their manifesto committees to say that young people really mean that their voices need to be heard by political parties now if they want their votes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just about wanting votes, but about coming out and seeking them and listening to what the youth want. In fact, many of the organizations that Arjun is in fact talking about, we've got Neha Butch, who's the CEO of Prava, which is one of the organizations, and we've also got with us Anshul Tiwari, who's the founder and CEO of Youth Ki Awaaz, and of course a whole bunch of young people over here who, like Arjun said, are here just because they want to talk about what matters to them. So, of course, on the social network today, that's what we're discussing, 2014, Target Youth. What do the young people really want from their parties? Neha, if I could just come to you. Arjun has talked about this Unmanifesto and these 10 promises that people want. Are you, as an organization and as people who are really coming together as a youth collective in that sense, are you acting as an interface between, say, the voters and the political parties, or are you just interacting with the political parties, or are you just interacting with just the youth? Like, what, in a sense, how is the data and the analysis and all of your experiences, how are they collating and what are they going to be?
Well, it's actually both. It's not just one segment, but we are definitely working more deeply with young people. And what we've understood while engaging with young people, and one of the, in fact, the top asks that have come up is saying that, we want 35% reservation in the legislature because we want a space where young voices are actually heard. So what we are doing is that we're going out, it's going to run up till the general elections, we're going to collect voices, we're going to keep inviting people to share more and more. We've got commitments from the different parties, including one from the left party. The person couldn't join us today. And the idea is to be able to pass these on so that the political parties are also engaging and they're starting to change their own perspective. So it's also about influencing the system. It's not about just political parties coming out and saying, okay, let me come in and get you for the vote. Let the political parties also learn that there's more to be done. And that's the core aim that we're doing, influencing both sides, and we are asking young people to come out and do that.
All right, that's really interesting. In fact, I'm going to come back to both of you. There's so many questions, and I think everybody really wants to know how the youth is actually thinking today. But let me just bring in Anshul. Anshul, one of the big things now coming ahead of the 2014 elections, in fact, why even 2014 elections? The Delhi elections, Assembly elections are just a few months away. And Aam Aadmi Party is one party that has really used the social media, has really been a front runner in social media in a sense. But from the statistics that we looked at from Internet and Mobile Association of India, 78 million young people are now using Facebook, and most of them are of voting age. Twitter users is 20 million. So social media is clearly something, if it's not going to change the game, or if it's not going to decide the outcome of the game, it's certainly going to make an influence on the final outcome. Is that a myth, or is there more to that?
See, I think there's definitely more to that. It's definitely not a myth. There's going to be a big influence that social media will have on the way, not just the Delhi elections, but also the general elections in 2014 take shape. And that is primarily because, young people, especially after the last two protests that we saw, the December 16th and the anti-corruption movement, young people are now getting proactive on how decisions for them are being made and who is making that decision for them, right? And they want to be a part of that process. So people who are on social media have not just the luxury, but also the ease of voicing themselves and making it go viral at the same time. And that's really taking place. And not just everybody's listening to them, be it Aam Aadmi Party or be it the right wing, everybody's really wanting to get active, get engaged with these young people and really find out what they want to achieve out of this, voicing of opinions that they have been doing online.